Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another rousing rendition of what we like to call here the BREADren Podcast Cocktail Convos. And according to my calculations and my calendar and my clock, it is still the month of March and it's Women's History Month. So we are still interviewing success veterans that are women, people that we know and love and support. And we got another repeat, another update, another follow-up from the one and only Yo Megs, aka Megan Sousa. How are you doing this evening, my sister?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm here. We're blessed. And thank you for that intro.
Oh, with the NPR voice, I love it. Um, we like I said, you've always been on with us. Like every iteration of podcast that I've personally done, you've been a part of it, and I always sincerely appreciate and thank you for that. So like I said, we're gonna update and see where we at now, what's all new since the last time we talked, how things are going. But in true BREADren fashion, we always like to raise a toast to all of our guests. So here's to a wonderful conversation being had, crumbs being dropped, and hopefully somebody will be able to pick up and learn something from it. And cheers to you and all your success. Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, so I think if I'm not mistaken, the last time we talked, Domino's was about to come out or had already come out. Um, LYT was underway, Laugh Your Truth production. So I think I want to, really take some time. No, it wasn't Domino's. It was Beats. It was either Beats or Domino's, or maybe both. Because there's a certain time of year we figured out at one point. There's a certain time of year when like you just
It's
explode
coming
with
up.
every yeah it is. Actually, it's like two times a year where things really pop for you, and all of the projects get released. But I really want to spend some time, well, most of the time talking about Lit, Laugh Your Truth, because it has expanded from its beginnings of LA, and now you are dual coasting it. You are catching flights literally weekly to bounce back and forth to produce, run, host, just do majority of everything for Laugh Your Truth. So just to give a little bit of background, because obviously we talk about it a lot. But for those of our new listeners and old who don't really know the story, tell us a little bit about Laugh Your Truth and how it started out.
Yes. So it started out, I kind of tell the story, it births out of necessity. So I would say the thoughts were brewing in 2016, but they didn't manifest until 2017. And I just got into a place where I was really just budding in comedy and needed space to perform. It kind of the thought began like that, where I'm like, I need a place to perform. And I was working at a comedy club at that time, and so I would see comedians on the grind, and I'm like, man, people don't know me like that, but I need to create my own space. And so that brewed into it's actually a full circle moment. I'll get back to it, but it brewed into um, linking up with a comedian who I would see him on the grind, and I was like, hey, do you want to start a show? Basically, would you be down to like co-host with me? So lock in the venue. We run this show, in a pretty tight space venue. We make it work. And we're running a show and we're running a mic at the end of the show. So there was a community building and there was a word of mouth that took off. So that became more than just me performing. It's like now this is a home for comedians and this is a place where, we can work out, we can produce, we can entertain, we can, link up, all these things. And we did that for 2 years until the pandemic hit around that time, 2.5 years, whatever that difference was. Pandemic hits. And, you know, the rent goes up in Hollywood. We were right off Hollywood Boulevard. So the rent went up, when they start buying property, buying pieces and plots. And so that kind of shut us down. Pandemic hit, and right before the pandemic hit, we actually were pitching already to the club we're at now. And pandemic hit, so obviously we were shut down again. And once it came back, our resurgence is just back where we left off, picking up where we left off. So now we're going into a year and a month at the new location and going on 2 months in New York, being bi-coastal. And ironically, the owner of that first venue, it was actually a duel, it was a Caribbean restaurant. Mm-hmm. We had dinner there last night, ironically. We went to go axe throwing, and we missed our little slot, because they accepted walk-ins. So we went in and, he's like, come back tomorrow. So we're like, all right. And I'm like, food. And he's like, Caribbean? I'm like, why not? We pull up and I'm like, wait a minute. I know this place. But he has different locations. So it was just a different location. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And ironically, he was there. This all happened last night. It was such a full circle moment. And I was like, do you remember we started our show? And he's like, yeah, I do.
So the first spot wasn't a comedy club. It was a Caribbean restaurant.
It was not a comedy club. It was a Caribbean restaurant, but the name of the actual venue was called The Cellar. So the actual name of the space itself was called The Cellar. Yeah, and the way it looked, it was like a low-key like bar, but it was narrow. So it was like a little tube almost. So it was a vibe. Like we created a vibe in there and we made it work. And we had, a spotlight, we had our mic, we had music, audio component, and we had our setup in the back. So we were able to run the show. So it worked. We made it a club, basically.
That's super interesting because as much as we talk, and as much as I know you, that little tidbit I did not actually know. I always thought that I always thought the original spot was a small comedy club. I never knew.
No, we made it a club.
We
were the only comedy show. There were a couple comedy shows running there, and then at some point they cut all those shows, and we were the only one left. And they had like a karaoke night and music nights, but like we were like the only comedy show that was left there. So we kind of turned it into a club. And then once it got shut down, I was like, all right, well, what can we do? And so back in the resurgence, I just brought my whole producer experience to it. And so it's been very interesting. Especially seeing the trickle down, and then you just watching your impact on everything around you, and you're like, I see, very cool.
That was something I definitely
this is great. I love this.
I definitely want you to speak on that too, is because for people that pay attention to comedy, like we, and the way you were telling the story kind of reminded me of the recent documentary that they put out about Fat Tuesday and Joe Torre. Joe Torre. Of how he started Fat Tuesday at the Comedy Store, and it really became this big thing, but like from humble beginnings. But and a lot of America's favorite comedians started, like they got their first shots and things of that nature there. But LYT, Laughter Truth, is seemingly to be one of those places to where a lot of the talent that you're booking and that are coming there are, they may not be household names right now, but they are known if you really follow comedians and if you, watch Comedy Central and, if you kind of have your ear a little bit to the comedy streets, these are people that you will recognize on that. But like I said, they may not be huge household names like Kevin Hart's and Mike Epps and things of that nature, but it's becoming one of those spaces where it's being known for lack of a better term, maybe like breaking comedy, in a sense, where people can come and see these people before they really take off and see them in a very intimate setting. So I want you to kind of talk about that and how deliberate and intentional that was, because like you said, y'all started off in a restaurant, y'all made that vibe, y'all created that vibe in a place that wasn't made for it. But just talk about the intentionality and, the deliberateness of being able to, create that. Because, like you said, you started off as I need somewhere for me to, do my stuff. But now you welcomed all of these other people in. And I think at this point, y'all have had close to hundreds, if not already, different comedians performing in now. Like you said, you got New York and LA. So the reach is growing even bigger.
Yes, great question. So it's been a huge blessing because, I go back into the archives of our first shows, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe, wait a minute, so-and-so came through here? Hold on a minute. So we definitely have been around for a minute. And it's just a blessing to be able to see and watch that growth, and it's very inspiring. I'll start with that part. It's inspiring because what started as a space for me to work my craft, I realized over time how important it was for others to work theirs as well. Not to say that that wasn't part of the initial intention, but the first spark was, I got to create something for me, right? Like for me. But then it becomes for us because, I take it very seriously. I respect the art form. I haven't had my 10 years yet in performing stand up, but I have my 10 years of producing. Mm. And I have my 10 years plus of performing, et cetera, right? So bringing in that expertise to a craft that I'm still working to work on that 10 years, I understand how important it is to curate a space that's safe, that's fun, that's, community based, just off of what I need, right? And I know that that's what I need, right? I need safety, I need community, I need, a positive environment for myself to develop, which means other people are going to need that as well. So to see people, different comics coming through, blessing the stage is really amazing. A lot of them are already on their way to becoming household names, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're on their path, even for, whether they're returning or they bless the stage once or twice or whatever have you, it's just such a crazy feeling afterwards to know that happened. And I really just look at it as a blessing, honestly, because the steam is just continuing to roll, and just being a stand-up comic myself and an actress and a producer. It's like I feel like I have a well-rounded view of the I guess like the nurturing that's required. And the respect that's required to get certain things done. So I just trust my vision, regardless of, any other factors around me. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just trying to stick true to the vision. And obviously being inspired by, all the 4 mothers and fathers in comedy that have done this. Like what I'm doing is not new. Right? Like, it's just me bringing my own, perspective to what's already been done.
Most definitely.
And mainly with integrity. That's like the main thing, is integrity and just and protecting it. And so, yeah, I think that's just the natural transgression of like the ebb and flow of it. Is just that I think to some degree people feel that and understand that, which is why they come through. They feel the love, they feel the support, they feel the purpose behind it, in my opinion, because I feel it, right? And I've been in rooms where I don't feel it, and and with consulting, I just had this experience, and I'm starting to see a trend where it's like, people who aren't in the comedy community want to put comedy shows together, but they have no clue what it really takes and and to understand the culture behind it. And so, and having a recent interaction, I was just, I kind of asked the main question: what is your goal? What's the reason? What's the purpose? Now, for me, it was to create a space to perform along with others, right? And allowing us to have a space to be honest, speak our truth, laugh our truth, a place to connect with others, to not feel like we have to hold back. That was my goal. That was my purpose. As time has grown, my goal and my purpose to spread that awareness to talent, to comedians that are out there on the underground bubbling up. As a comedian, understanding how important that is, right? Mm-hmm. If you have someone who has no connection to comedy and no relationship to comedy, but they're like, I want to do that. Tell me how you do it. It's interesting because it's like, okay, I'll give you some notes, but when the goal and the purpose isn't there, on any front, I think that's kind of the response that you get with that product, if that makes sense. With whatever you're creating, if that makes sense.
So you mentioned your titles, some of your titles, actor, producer, host, consultant, booking, head of booking, casting director. But for those of you listening that are aware of Meg, I'll say you started acting. Like that's where most people were introduced to you. You were acting. And I told you before, it was like, one time I was like, what made you decide to start? Because like one day I just looked up and you were doing the improv classes, which I was like, okay, but then the improv, or maybe it was comedy at first, but then it was like improv, but it was more comedy based. And I was like, okay, using that to sharpen up the skills. And then it went completely to comedy. And I was like, I ain't see that coming. But the acting part, you were deliberate about that. The comedian part, you were deliberate about it. And I'm wondering, and the question that I have is, how deliberate were you in terms of the production and all of these behind the scenes roles that you're being thrust in now? And well, not even been thrust in because you've been doing it for years now with LYT. But I get that, in the beginning, it was out of necessity of you needed a place for you to work out. And then at any given time, it could have been, all right, you found the space, you got the time slots and whatnot. And now you just reach out to somebody else and say, hey, look, I got this and this lined up. You do this because this is what you do. I'm the comedian. I'm the actress. I don't do this. How much of it was you had to do this because you had to, or how much was you did it because, this was the next thing that was on the list?
Both. I had to do it, but I knew how to do it. And so it was more of a thing of, I'm a perfectionist. So right off the top, when I knew I was starting a show, just like with anything that I do, right, including Cornbread Kitchen, the sketch comedy group that I founded and put the pieces together for that to operate. It just came naturally. Producing comes very naturally to me. And that's not something that I really put on the forefront, but it's something I've always done, if that makes sense. So off the rip, like knowing that I'm putting something together, I'm very, very organized, which is what makes me a naturally gifted producer, in my opinion, is the organization and just how my mind works and able to connect the pathway from one idea to the next and executing. And so off the rip, I just knew like, oh, this is for real. This is serious. Like I laid all the bricks down for that beginning phase. And it was just every piece of the framework, I created it. Just from my head of like, I have to organize this or else I just can't live in my head. You know what I mean? So I built the framework. Once it got to where it is now, with being an entity and being the CEO of the company, et cetera, it's a whole nother ball game of organizing. It's a whole nother ball game of laying those bricks. It's a whole nother ball game of laying framework. And the beginning framework that I laid was great. And I still use a lot of those things to this day, you know? And so when it comes to every piece of it, I'm like, damn, I do it all, but it's out of necessity, but in building a team over this last year has been great because I'm entrusting others to do what I've already been doing, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, you got
To some
a
degree.
system set up now, and now somebody else can do it because you've got it laid out. Like, this is what I will need done here, here, and here. Now you can go do it.
But this is phase one of that, like having a team building around it. Because at one point, like I said, I'm holding the camera, I'm lighting in the back, I'm DJing in the back, I'm hosting, I'm making sure the lights is working, I'm making sure the sound is working, I'm booking the comedians, I'm sending the emails, I'm printing the flyers. I'm doing every piece of the basic part. But once I decided to step it up a notch and just step it up several notches and just continue to step and level it up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm stepping into this. But it feels necessary, if that makes sense.
No.
So it's really just putting on my leadership hat and my leadership pants and like, okay, you've been doing this. So this is naturally where it's progressing to and growing to. And it's beyond Megan. Like, this ain't got squat to do with me getting my time in on stage. Like, it's going to happen anyway, but it's not even about that anymore. So obviously, the goal changes and the goalpost changes. And so the bigger that goalpost is, like, I'm the only person fit to do that in this vision, in this state. So I have to see it through. If I have to do it in the meantime, it's going to get done. If I have to hire an expert to do it, then it's going to get done. But either way, it's going to get done. You know what I mean?
No,
I designed the flyers for years. I just hired someone, and brought someone in on the team to like handle that, because I would just do everything, and still can, but I choose not to because I need to delegate or reserve energy.
No, that's a great transition, because we actually talked about it in all of our cocktail combos we've had, thus far this year, because everybody so far is, a business owner. Brittany Boykins, who I grew up with in Tuskegee, she owns a medical training school. Alicia Brandon runs HBCU Pets, which is pet apparel and accessories, based around HBCU colorways. And we were having the conversations of, oftentimes as entrepreneurs, it's not even that we want to be the one doing it all. It's, number one, a necessity because of the money to pay other people to do it. And then number two, it's like when you're first starting out, you got to do it to see the way that you want it to be done, to even tell somebody else what you want to be done, versus having somebody who's really good at this thing saying, hey, I know you're good at producing shows, come produce it. But then now you got to tell them, okay, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I don't like that. And I want this and I want this. And now that becomes a whole nother thing. But just the necessity of having to be the one who does it all, because it's ours, this is your, brainchild that you've nurtured from infancy up until this point now. And so just being able to insert that passion into your profession or your craft or what it is you do is refreshing to see. But then it's also refreshing to hear the truth behind it, where it's like, I could still do this, but I got to a point where I realized that maybe I should let somebody else do it, just to take this one little thing off my shoulder, where it's like, I still got to worry about the flyer getting done, but I don't have to worry about it in the aspect that I got to do it. And now I realize, the day before, like, damn, I didn't do the flyer because I was so busy trying to make sure that the acts were booked, the lights were right, and all of this other stuff. So was there a moment to where you had that wake up call to say, okay, I gotta, really start delegating, bringing people on, opening this team up, or else I'm going to burn out? Or was it a genuine natural plan. It was like, okay, we're now finna enter into phase 2 or 3 or 4, where it's time to bring people in because we've done this for this long.
Yes, it's a mixture of kind of all of those things. I think it happened right at the beginning of last year, coming back into it. But what happened was it snowballed, where it started with one new or two new, so one or two, started with like two team members.
Mm.
Then it kind of grew into, um, where it is now. So it's like, you know, it was out of necessity, and then
Right.
part of it was also where I wanted to open opportunities up too.
Mm.
And I didn't want my pause on everything creatively where it's like I see no separation.
Mm.
So I kind of had to bring people in to do things that, even though I can do it, and I might say, can you move that down, move those margins over, change this color? It's stuff that I would be doing. Like,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
I'm just
You
micro
just
asking you to do what I
you've
would
brought in
already
extensions
do.
of yourself now at this point. Just
Listen,
like,
it's
I
so
got more
crazy.
hands.
Yeah. And then I'm just like, and like trying to like get it perfect. But once the system is set, it's like, great, we don't have to talk about it no more. Like, I know you're capable and competent enough to handle this task and this thing. We are all set. And it's true. It's like they're extensions of me in a way of, I look at them like they're smart, talented, creative people, and that they can handle, what they're experts in, what they're here for, if that makes sense. And I trust that they're gonna bring, really great ideas to the table.
Right.
And I want to open that up where, I'm not like micromanaging uh every little thing, and I'm like, I'll just take a minute sometime to absorb it, and I may make a couple notes on things, but I'll be like, it's fine.
It's the autopilot mode
Yeah.
where you
But
get
but
to.
but but it's naturally growing, and it's like
Mm.
now, we're still adding to the team. I'm looking for rotating hosts for New York.
Mm.
I'm looking for to add another editor. So it's like it's constantly, constantly, constantly growing, if
Well,
that
like you
makes
said,
sense.
this is as, and it's weird because when you're in it, you're in it, and you don't really have the time to kind of peek up and be like, oh, we really, we started back there, now we up here, where it's, you kind of get it every now and again, but even those brief moments where you realize the progress and the ascension, you got to get right back to work. Like, don't rest on your what is it? Don't rest on your laurels, your morals, or something that old folks be
Laurels,
saying. Like, yeah,
yeah, I
don't get
don't, and
caught up in it.
that's why I very, very, very like staying in a place of gratitude, because it's only because of the community supporting that we've been able to grow the way we have, because they understand the assignment. Just like I understand the assignment, we understand the assignment.
Mhm.
And so it's amazing to see who gravitates towards it, because you're like, they're also extensions of you to some degree. Like the whether they're comedians or not, you just realize the impact that you're having by just seeing this through. You know what I'm saying? By you, I mean by seeing it through. If that's what the vision is. So it's like, just God even bringing me to the place of like, you're going to do this still blows my mind, because I'm like, I already know where this is going. I already know where this is going. I can already see it. I already know exactly where this is going. And I have absolutely zero doubts in my mind. Zero. I'm not worried about anything. At this point, it's just a matter of going through the motions that have to be gone through, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, and it made me create my next saying of alignment ain't nothing but symmetry in 3D. There we go.
Alignment ain't nothing but symmetry in 3D.
Yeah. I'm one of those
Pretty
people,
much.
like I have OCD in the sense that I like things to be symmetrical. But then
Me too.
I also like alignment, but symmetry is like equal, but alignment is like that balance. It's not necessarily visually
The fact that you just said that just made me think about how I've been debating all morning if I'm gonna change this flyer, this post that I posted, because there's a little thing symmetrically off, and I think I'm gonna do it. I think this is a sign
oh
from God,
no,
because
you're going to. Otherwise,
I'm
you're going
going
to
to.
lose
It's
sleep.
been bugging me.
You're going to lose actual sleep about it, even after it's done. Like
I
the
did.
show is
I
going to
woke
pass, and
up.
you're still going to be like, you know what, guys? I just want to let y'all know this is what the flyer should have looked like, because
No, it's happened before. It's happened before where I'm like, I'll just stare at it on my page. And I'll be like, it's
I do the thing where
and
I like.
I just get so mad because it's already in there and it's like nothing I could do. And I have to like really do deep breaths to like accept it, to
Oh no, I
accept that
look.
things are not perfect.
I go
And
do
I'll just like,
sweeps. I
I
go do
can't,
sweeps
because it's
when I
like
do that.
there's a certain alignment on the on aesthetic on the page, so I can't just delete. So if I'm gonna make the changes, I have to do it now before I get to the next line. You feel
I do
me? So
sweeps.
that's why I'm like,
I do sweeps at that point. Like if I see something off and I've already put it out, I go back and wipe it like it never happened. And I was like, you know what? Y'all didn't see that. I Men in Black it. And I'm just like, this is what you saw the whole time. None of this. But it the that reminded me of when we first started the flight, and it was no it the there was a purpose behind it, but it was really a personal thing. It was one of those things like my brother hit me up and said, I want you to put this on a shirt for me, because I had been making shirts for people since like middle school. And I was like, all right. He knew I designed, and I put it on a shirt. He was like, I like that. And I was like, I like it too. He was like, you think other people will like it? I was like, I'm pretty sure a few people will like it too. So boom. And for years, literally years, my aesthetic, my eye never caught that there was a huge gap between the F and the L in flight. So if you ever look at anything old LaFlight, shirts, hats, anything with the signature logo on it, there's a like a 1 inch gap between the F and the L. And it bothers me like to my soul, to the point where I had to create a story behind it for myself to make me feel comfortable. I was like, you know how the government will come out and say there were like misprints on certain dollars and stuff, and now they're worth extra money, because that's my story for myself, so I feel comfortable. I'm like, you know what?
they're exclusive pieces.
Those are exclusive pieces. Those are one of ones, beginners prints that, it was just off. And those are worth more money than the current ones in my mind. So that's what calmed me down.
I mean,
So
whatever you got to do to get through it.
you got to, especially when you're.
That's why I already know I'm gonna change and update what I've done.
So look, y'all, go out there and get that exclusive flyer before it's taken down. I mean, by the time y'all hear this, it'll be long gone. You won't even know
It's
it
gonna be
existed.
long. It's gonna be gone by the time we
Y'all,
get done.
people are gonna look for it and be like, I can't find what's wrong with nothing. Be like, there was never anything wrong with it. This is all an illusion.
You know.
But outside of LYT, like we said, you act like black folks say, you be acting, you be in movies and commercials, like, and the way that you just pop up, and we know each other. We know each other. Like we've been tight since I don't remember the year, and like we talk often outside of this. Like we talk, talk or text, or between the Instagram memes that we send each other and videos and stuff that we send each other. Like we talk daily, pretty much. But you never are braggadocious about what you actually have going on. Like you're not always posting that you're at the studio, you're at this meeting or in this headquarters or any of that stuff. The people who know you, they kind of know because you keep us updated, but you're not always just like posting for the fact of, letting people think or see that you're doing something. But a lot of people have that necessity where it's like, I gotta post that I'm at Google so that people know I'm working. I gotta post that I'm, on Rodeo so people know that I'm shopping and spending money. It's like you don't do that, which leads to, me just randomly seeing you in a farmer's insurance commercial and me just randomly seeing you in a Honda commercial. It's like, you know, so that just, what the hell are you working on right now besides comedy so that I'm not surprised? Where I'm just like, oh, what's that? That wasn't Megan, because Megan would have told me she was doing a farmer's commercial. No, yes, that was Megan in a damn farmer's commercial.
It's funny, when that commercial aired, I was on the phone with one of my childhood friends, and he currently lives in Phoenix, and we were on the phone, and he was like, "Are you in a farmer's commercial?" I was like, "What? It aired?" And he was like, he took a screenshot of it. He was like, it just popped up on my phone. He was like, I went on Instagram and it just popped, the commercial just popped up. I couldn't believe it. So that's actually how I found out. I didn't even know it aired. They didn't even say anything. Anyways, but the check still came.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Keys
you still get the check, whether they notified you or not. The check notifies that you were on there.
As long as the check clear, we good. There's like, I'll be hearing about people that get paid to do a bunch of pilots and none of the pilots ever air. I'll be like, I would not be mad.
No, because you still get paid and it's a nice chunk of change. So I've never complained about those types of things. So with what I'm working on right now, obviously most of my little chicken eggs is in lit comedy right now. And so there's just a lot going on there that obviously I'm not able to speak about right now. However, it is a lot going on there. Now, as far as the acting a fool, I have a couple things in development, but They Clone Tyrone is premiering this summer. I think in June. Let me confirm.
Look, we done had this conversation how many times? What's the actual date? Because and for those of you who don't know, They Call Tyrone is
it's July 31st.
Okay.
It premieres July 31st on Netflix. Okay. Finally.
This look. You know me, I'm still skeptical at this point because
no, it's really happening.
I feel like we've been waiting on this for 17 years at this point.
It's been a minute.
It's like coming out. It's like us waiting on what's the movie everybody want? There's a bunch of movies people be wanting sequels for, but it's like, this ain't even a sequel. I've been waiting on the first version of this to come out. But that's what I was explaining. For people who don't know, They Clone Tyrone is a smash summer hit that's going to be released on Netflix, and it's probably going to save Netflix a little bit. Directed and written by Jewel Taylor and his writing partner Tony Rettenmeyer. That's going to come on in Netflix July 31st. So when that comes out, y'all blast that. Because I know me, I got 5 TVs in this house. I'm gonna put it on each television to get it to keep playing. So that'll be out. But yeah, there's some stuff that's not that they we can't talk about. And I say we, I mean, and Meg can't really talk about what we're working on. What happened?
Back to the conversation.
Oh man. Unfortunately, we will not be releasing the video version of this, and it's not for what just happened. It's just we already decided that, but we're laughing because Jewel just popped into the room and then popped back out real quick to confirm that date for us.
Yes, he confirmed July 21st. It's happening. Yeah. So they've been working very hard on that, just perfecting it and getting it to the place it needs to be, and they're finally there. It's finally happening. Pencils down.
No, that's, and just sidetrack, when I was talking with Joel a couple of weeks ago, just I never knew that, that whole process of how it's happening, this year of movies done, seemingly approved, and then they're like, nah, I need y'all to go back and redo pieces. And I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing. But then now, the tidbits and things that I get from you all of just how things actually work behind the scenes makes a lot of things make sense as a consumer of entertainment, where it's like, why is it taking so long for the next Friday to come out? It's because you got to get everybody's schedules to align. You got to get the green, like it's so much that goes on. But from the consumer side, we just think you just go do it and we're gonna get it. It's like, no, it's a lot of turning wheels and pieces in the background that everything got to take place in order for it to happen. And it's like, so it's
Yeah, especially with editing. That's like the hardest
mm-hmm.
part, just getting notes on like changing, and you might have to change some things up. You thought it was going in one direction, it might go in a different.
Even like what
just all kind of little stuff.
Like for me, just like small decisions, like y'all at one point, the music for the trailer, and as a consumer, we don't think, because we see the end product and we would never know that, y'all had to go through 15 song choices to figure out which one fit. And it's like, we don't see that. And I think for me, it's also helped me get a greater appreciation for everything that y'all do as entertainers, producers, actors, and all of that, where it's just, there's so much actual work that goes in, because I think a lot of times, from the consumer standpoint, it's discounted the work that gets put in, because it's seemingly so easy if you don't really know what goes into it. Like, we know who good actors are, like we know who be acting real good, but I think we think it's so easy for actors to act that we don't really see the work that's in it. Like, everybody know Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington can act his ass off, but we just like, he can do it. Like, it's easy for him. Like, yeah, he could just go be Malcolm X for a whole month and shoot a movie, but we don't see the work that goes into doing that. Just like how, when you're on set and weather's not right, so now schedules are pushed and delayed, and just all of these random variables and factors that go into it, which, long story short, it's given me a greater appreciation for, just the industry and you all's craft as a whole. And then even then, knowing you and Jules' story of how y'all worked, production assistants, background, sound, and all of these smaller positions on, and now understanding how everybody's job actually does be important. And I have a new goal that I want my name somewhere on the credits somewhere. I don't want to be an actor, but I got to figure it out. So I'm coming to y'all soon to figure out where I'm gonna get my name and what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my job though, but I got to figure it out. And consulting is the easiest route for people to go. But I think I want to do something real. Like, I want to come and hold the mic for a whole day or something. And it's like, I did my job, y'all. Like,
yeah,
got the job. But I definitely appreciate y'all's insight all the time, just with with everything that you're doing. It's refreshing, because I'm always talking to small business owners and entrepreneurs, but everything is kind of parallel with me, right? Because it's all business, but show business is like a beast in itself, to where in my mind, honestly, I can't actually relate, right? Like, I've done some events and things of that nature, but it's like, it's totally different. There's some things that match, but then the biggest part of it doesn't. And so it's just always refreshing for me to be able to talk business and be able to gain something from it, because I don't really have anything to offer when it's talking about show business. Like, that's your realm, that's y'all's realm, where I just get so much insight into it, and it gives me a better appreciation, like I said, for for what y'all do. So I definitely thank y'all, thank you for that. So with that being said, you've semi hinted at new works. So the only thing that I can tell people is if you want to know what Yo Megs is doing, what Megan Sousa is doing, you have to follow her on all of her social medias and her websites. There's
Yes.
multiples. So name them all.
Yes, there's a bunch. So for all my producing work, photography work, that's yomegs.com, YOMEGS.com. For all things Megan Sousa, megansousa.com. For all things Laugh Your Truth, comedy show and productions, that will be lytcomedyshow.com. Those are the websites. And to piggyback off what you said, yes, it is so many pieces to the puzzle with productions, and it's everybody's job is very important. Like, and that's like people joke with that all the time. Like, I want to hold the sound thing, but you guys don't understand how critical that job is. If the sound is messed up and there's an interference, then it's either unusable or you're going to do a lot of ADR. Well, you could probably save it with ADR more than likely, but that.
See, I don't even know the
those are things that
okay.
Basically ADR is when you're doing voiceover. So,
oh, gotcha. Okay.
Just say you needed to dub a line, that's ADR. And so you're just doing the voice and then match it up with the picture. So, but the thing about is exactly, it's work, it's inconvenient. So like the sound is very important. It's critical. It is critical. And to the point where production department, or PD as they call it, where they're going to be doing like your set dressing, right? So just say there's a scene in a store and you have a paper bag. Sound is so critical to where you're not using a regular paper bag. You're actually using they make a bag out of some like soft mesh material that looks like paper, but it's like velvet or whatever, right? It's so it's soft, so that it doesn't make noise because sound is so important.
And then the sound of the bag is made with sound effects later.
Foley, exactly.
All right, so look, let me, look, I'm gonna do craft services. I'm just gonna serve, okay?
Yes, you can see if you over there by the food.
Give
that's
me the gloves.
Easy work.
Give me the gloves and the hairnet. I'm gonna scoop it. You want 2 scoops or 3? Huh? Okay. We ain't got no more green beans. That's me.
There's the food trucks out there. There's plenty of other positions.
Look, I'm
sound is crazy. Sound is crazy.
I'm at the buffet table with the spoon. Just
that's what I'm saying.
Soda's over there. That's me. One more scoop, potato salad. Soda's over there. Potato salad. Right. So that's me. I'm gonna be at the end of the line with the potato salad, pointing to the soda drinks. There we go. Okay. That's me. See, I need some that's important, but I'm not. I don't have the capability to screw nothing up.
Just as important as sound, but less stakes.
I want to be support, but I don't want to be support that if something go wrong, they be like, "Where is he at?" And now I gotta hide. No, look, potato salad, drinks are over there. Yes, drinks are over there. Yeah, bathrooms to the left. And I got my gloves on and my hairnet gloves. That's what I'm gonna do. So look, y'all catch me on the next movie set. I'm be the one under the tent serving up potato salad, point to the drinks so that I don't mess nothing up. And then I'll work my way up. I'm gonna work my way up. I'll be the dude that's holding the sign to block off traffic for the closed courses. I'll be reading the fine print at the bottom.
There's a lot of places that you can be on set.
Thank you. See, look, now you're gonna consult me on where I can be. That's not gonna mess up the budget and the money. That's what I need. It's like, look, we're gonna put you over here. You can't fuck this up. Okay.
I have ideas.
Oh, I know you do, because you have insight. And that's the word for the day, people. Insight is it. Get you some. But this has been another amazing and wonderful cocktail convo with my good friend, my sister, Megan Sousa, actor, comedian, producer, consultant, bi-coastal host, about to be a tri-coastal host because Atlanta's probably coming next. Y'all didn't hear that from me. That's just me manifesting out loud because it's the next
Atlanta's asking. Atlanta's asking. Exactly. Well, Connecticut is asking too.
Well, that, you know.
But Connecticut, I gotta see about what's happening.
That's the home team, but they close enough to New York to
They're close enough.
hop that Metro
Just
North
get
and
on
come
the
on down. Hop
train.
that Metro North. Matter of fact, look, Laugh Your Truth is probably about to start sponsoring a party bus that comes from where we gonna leave from? Where we gonna leave from? Bridgeport. Pull up to the club, and then we'll take you back to Bridgeport. So y'all meet us at Bridgeport for the party bus. Look for details on all the social media. That's going to be in the description for this episode. But this has been another amazing conversation with my great friend. We appreciate you. We support you. We love you. And if there's anything that the BREADren can do, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Shout out to my co-host, Dr. Ajamu Lovin, PhD, CFP of Lovin Consulting. Shout out to Destrian Wells of D Wells Consulting. Look out for the next episode of the BREADren. I don't know where in the world my co-hosts are. They could be doing a conference in Jacksonville, or they might be back at this point. They might be somewhere out in Phoenix doing a talk. They might actually be in New York, and I don't even know it, doing what they do best, which is spreading financial wealth, health, and literacy. And we got some great things coming up. This episode has been sponsored by Jack Learns Money, the new book, children's book to teach your kids about money, that's written by moi. Yes, indeed, I'm a published author. Once again, go get your book on Amazon. Get the description. Not get the description. Get the link in the description, and the link will be in the bios. There we go. Jumbling up these words. Got to unscramble them like eggs because I wanted them over easy. We love y'all. Ain't nothing you could do about it. Peace.